I'm Jairo Garciga, and I filmed and co-produced Dr. TikTok. Dr. TikTok is under the genre of superhero comedy. In the comedy genre, common tropes include lighthearted humor and over-exaggeration of a situation. Both of these can be seen in Dr. TikTok. Every action that Scott goes through leads to some form of humor, whether it be the odd actions or weird facial expressions. Over-exaggeration also takes place in the body language of the characters, especially the teacher when he is over Scott. The superhero portion of the genre is not as emphasized, but this intro could represent the backstory to the hero as his powers begin to be portrayed. Dr. TikTok does not successfully portray social groups or minorities or any issue that involves society. It follows a typical male character that leads the comedy or superhero trope franchise or genre in a very comedic style. It is very similar to Deadpool in this manner, in the matter of superhero films, and similar to Mr. Bean in the matter of comedy films. Dr. TikTok engages with audiences in two major ways, through its comedic effect and through its cliffhanger. Many of the reactions we received of the intro were positive, as they enjoyed the humor. A lot of the small details in every scene can be found humorous, such as the paper that had the sweaty palm stain, or the teacher looking overly disappointed at Scott. Beneath these parts of the film, there were small details such as writing or people in the background that would only add on to the humor and realism of the film. Audiences are attracted to this because it isn't simply verbal comedy, it's not a joke, it's something deeper than that. You can see the satire in every part of the film, which is different than a lot of superhero films, especially Deadpool, where a lot of the satire and comedy is verbally spoken. A lot of it's a pun made by Deadpool himself. The ending also leaves a lot of interpretation up to the viewers. Many of our responses on the film were about confusion, as they didn't know how the film was going to end. And this is understandable because it wasn't meant to show an ending, it was meant to be open-ended. And through this also attracts audiences, as the audiences will want to know how it ends, will want to know how the character ends up, will want to know how everything changes afterwards, the relevance of every single detail. Because this is an intro, we were limited in this aspect. Yes, we could have continued, but with many of our limited resources, we decided it was better to leave this as a cliffhanger. And that is why at the end of the film, we have a clock ticking again, to show change, to show tension, which in that aspect would drag audiences or bring their attention to the film. Distribution of the film would be initially uploaded onto YouTube, where it would be free and easy to access by everyone. This would increase the popularity initially, and then it would be then if Netflix or Amazon TV decided to take it on, we would allow them to, and then we would take it down from YouTube. Throughout the filming process, my production skills changed drastically. Before filming, we had to practice all of our scenes to make sure we could get it done in one class period, as in order to keep continuity, we had to do it all within a short period of time. It took us about 30 minutes in total to film with preparations beforehand. This included knowing how each scene would work and some ideas of how the script would be as well. When it came to editing, we used Adobe Premiere Pro. Luckily, Scott was able to teach me some of the things in the program, but I was still new to it in general. And through the learning of planning, filming, and editing, I improved my production skills. Scott and I integrated technology through each phase of our filmmaking process. In the planning phase, we used the computer to hold all our information involving scripts. And we also used cameras to mock film to see the different angles we would use. During filming, we used a video camera to record. The camera was of great quality and was uploaded to a computer, where all the scenes were stored and are still stored. We used Adobe Premiere Pro to edit the video, in which I was very inexperienced and Scott was a little experienced. But over time we got better. One of our major issues was the stabilization of the film. A lot of the video quality was a little shaky with movements, and I learned how to stabilize the film using some of the video effects. We also used transitions to make some of the scenes cleaner, as much of the film was a little rushed in order to get it finished within the time frame. So through the use of video transitions, we were able to clean it up and make it smoother. And the sound was also edited to emphasize the clock ticking in the background. This was a little difficult to do, as even implementing the clock ticking was hard. We had to get every single tick in line perfectly with every single clock tick. And that was hard to begin with, but then having to make sure the sound could be heard through the background of everything was also a little hard to do. At different points in the film, the clock is emphasized more or less. There were some issues with poor acting in the background, with people not realizing they were within the scene. So we did have to learn how to zoom in and focus more on Scott, and especially in the last scene where we had to zoom in entirely on Scott so you would not see the movement in the background. And ultimately we used YouTube as a platform to publish the film.